your local election headquarters. This is Local 5 News with Tom Zalaski, Aaron Davison, and Chief Meteorologist Luke Sanfey.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The polls have closed and results are coming in for the 2018 midterm elections.
And we will be following many of the races on the ballot tonight. We're bringing you live coverage from some of tonight's biggest races. Local 5's Alexandra Burnley in Waukesha with incumbent Governor Scott Walker and U.S. Senate candidate Leah Vukmir. Our Justin Razavi is in Madison with Governor Walker's Democratic opponent Tony Evers.
Also in Madison is Robin Ogenye, who is following U.S. Senator-elect Tammy Baldwin. And Shelley Botad is in Howard following Congressman Mike Gallagher. And we understand it is official. He has won a second term in Congress, defeating his challenger, Bo Lee Joyce.
And we begin tonight with the governor's race. The last Marquette Law School poll had Governor Walker and Tony Evers in a virtual tie at 47%.
Early numbers indicate this could be a long night before this election is decided. 67 precincts reporting 50% to 48%. Now we go to Congressman Gallagher speaking about his re-election.
Deployment, and I've done my absolute best to do just that. Now I know we have a lot of work to be done. We have a lot of problems that need to be fixed in this country, and it's going to take all of our energy, all of our enthusiasm, all of our moral courage that we can muster in order to do things like fix our healthcare system, fix our immigration system, tackle our looming debt crisis. It's going to take men and women of good faith to step up and do that, and it's not going to be easy. But I just feel honored that you would trust me for 2 more years to do that work. Because at the end of the day, this office does not belong to me. There are many people in Northeast Wisconsin that could do this job. It belongs to all of you. And I just want you to know I wake up every single day just trying to do my best to make you proud of the work that me and my team do in Congress. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank my opponent, who just called me and was very gracious. Listen, it is not easy to step up and run for office in the current political environment. And I salute him for being willing to do that. I salute him for his military service, and I have no doubt that he will find a way to serve the good people of Northeast Wisconsin going forward. So thank you, Bo, for your willingness to step up. I was talking with some of you yesterday. Throughout the election, you've heard it said that this is the most important election of our lives. It seems like every 2 years we say that this is the most important election of our lives. Now, the truth is, I don't know if this is the most important election of our lives. I do know it's a very important election, but I've been thinking about that for a while now. And I thought perhaps we say every 2 years that this is the most important election of our lives because there's something quintessentially American about that impulse. In other words, we are never satisfied as a country, right? We're always striving to form a more perfect union. We're a country of upstarts, of entrepreneurs, of explorers. This is not a country for complacent people. Now, that may be a sobering realization, right? The idea that we're going to have to work our entire lives in order to serve this country. But to me, that's an awesome challenge. And the minute we give up on that, the minute we stop thinking that there's something that we can do to leave this country a little bit better than how we found it, is the minute we've lost something fundamentally American. Because I have seen other countries, and I can tell you without a shred of doubt that we all hit the jackpot when we were born in this country. This is the greatest country in the history of the world. And that's not a function of anything really that happens in D.C. It's a function.
That is 8th District Congressman Mike Gallagher with his acceptance speech for his victory tonight over Bo Lee Joyce. Well, now we head to Madison, where Local 5's Justin Razavi is standing by with the Evers campaign.
As we mentioned just a moment ago, Evers slightly ahead with early returns over incumbent Governor Scott Walker. We go to Justin. Hello, Justin Razavi.
Hey, Aaron and Tom, how you doing? Take a look at all the people here. There are hundreds of people here. It's like being at a New Year's Eve party. and so packed in here in the Orpheum that you can't really move. The energy here is very electric. It's very positive. Everyone I've talked to seems like they think that Evers is going to come out with a victory. We just saw the results flash on the screen maybe about 10 minutes ago with Evers having that slight lead that you talked about. Still plenty of votes to be counted, but it got a big cheer from the crowd when the results showed Evers ahead by less than a percentage point. We have not yet seen Tony Evers. He will be here along with Mandela Barnes tonight, and we will let you know what he says when he speaks. But for now, no sign of Tony Evers yet, just hundreds and hundreds of supporters. Stick with Local 5 Newscast the rest of the night, on air and online. We will tell you the results of this election when we know them. Live in Madison, Justin Razavi, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Justin. Very close race. Local 5's Alexander Burnley is at the watch party with his opponent, Republican Governor Scott Walker, in Waukesha.
And she joins us live now from his watch party. Alexandra.
Well, Tom and Aaron, as you said, this race is incredibly close and too early to call. Meanwhile, Leah Vukmir just took the stage minutes ago and said that she called Senator Tammy Baldwin and conceded the race. Now, Leah's loss has certainly dampened the mood among Republican supporters who are also here nervously watching Walker's latest numbers. Walker has not taken the stage yet, but as soon as he does, we will let you know and share the latest on what he says. Live in Waukesha, Alexandra Burnley, Local 5 News.
Okay, thanks, Alexandra. Also in Waukesha, current Attorney General Brad Schimmel, who is facing Democratic nominee Josh Kaul.
In this election, let's take a look at those current numbers. It shows a close race, unexpectedly close race, perhaps. 67% of precincts reporting Josh Kaul ahead at this point of the race, 50% to Brad Schimmel's 49%. Now, U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin has won re-election tonight. She gave her victory speech just moments ago, right here on Local 5.
And she bested her Republican opponent Leah Vukmir by double digits tonight in the polls. Local 5's Robin Oginye following Senator Baldwin tonight, and she joins us live from Madison. Robin?
Tom, Aaron, the energy in this room was palpable as hundreds of people gathered in support of Tammy Baldwin, and that was just minutes before she was actually declared the winner. Now, we knew she had a significant double-digit lead over Leah Vukmir, but this race was called pretty early. Now, one thing she said in her victory speech was that this campaign was not just a political fight. It was a political fight to do what was right. And even more notably, she thanked Leah Vukmir for her 16 years of service in the legislature, but the rest of her speech focused on her campaign points: healthcare, higher education, and keeping jobs in Wisconsin.
Across our state, Democrats, Republicans, and independents sent a loud and clear message. They wanted a senator who works not for the special interests, but someone who works for you.
Now, Senator Baldwin is not giving any additional interviews tonight, but make sure you tune into Local 5 this morning. Tomorrow morning, we'll have additional sound for you then. But for now, reporting live in Madison, Robin Oginye, Local 5 News.
All right, thank you, Robin. There are 2 U.S. congressional seats on the ballots in our area.
The first is between incumbent Glenn Grothman and Democratic opponent Dan Cole for the 6th congressional district, with 69% of precincts reporting. Glenn Grothman, the incumbent, is ahead with 55% of the vote over his challenger Dan Cole.
And the second race is for the 8th congressional district between incumbent Mike Gallagher and Democratic opponent Bo Lejoyce. And you already know the outcome of this one. We just brought you the incumbent's victory speech, Mike Gallagher's speech, and there you see the numbers: 65% big win over Bo Lejoyce for Mike Gallagher. All right, now it seems these midterm elections, they have been a part of the national conversation since the 2016 presidential election.
And Wisconsin is predicted to lead all other states in voter turnout tonight with more than 62% turnout, some are reporting. The Wisconsin Elections Commission has reported nearly 550,000 absentee ballots have been filed for the state of Wisconsin. This breaks its record set back in 2014 when nearly 380 absentee ballots came in.
So to help us break down the numbers and the impact our elections have on a national scale, we go to Chris Schuler, who's in the studio.
He's joined by UW Fox Valley professor George Waller. Chris?
Tom and Aaron, thank you very much. Professor Waller, thank you for joining us tonight. Let's talk about voter turnout. Wisconsin Elections Commission predicted higher turnout, absentee ballots very high. What was driving people to head to the polls in such great numbers?
I think there was a lot of attention paid to these midterm elections by both the Republicans and the Democrats. And I think clearly what was driving Wisconsinites in particular to the polls was the tightness that was evident all along at the top of the ticket here in the governor's race. While it was clear that Tammy Baldwin looked like she was going to win, it was the governor's race that I think drew people out here in Wisconsin.
Well, let's talk about the numbers right there. If we could put up some of the numbers, Tom and Aaron were putting up the governor's projections where we're standing right now, that Evers ahead by a small percentage. I mean, if Tony Evers pulls this off tonight, how big of an upset is this?
Well, you know, it's a pretty big upset. I think, you know, Scott Walker, by his own admission, indicated that he thought this would be the fight of his life, his political life, and he's certainly gotten it tonight with the results we see here. Tony Evers ran a good race against Governor Walker.
Tammy Baldwin winning,
yeah.
That was expected.
Yeah, Tammy Baldwin, she won by double digits tonight, and that was something that I think even was reflected in the latest Marquette poll. She'd been trending ahead consistently throughout this election season and clearly had a fairly comfortable victory.
And Gallagher declared the winner, and,
yes.
and Grothman, we're still waiting to find out what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's been about 10-point spread between Grothman and Dan Cole here. I think part of the interest in this race was the amount of spending in the 6th congressional district. You know, Dan Cole had lots of money, and he clearly used it in that district.
Well, real quickly, let's talk about the Democrats. They are moving down a path to take the majority back in the House.
Yeah.
If Republicans lose that, and the Democrats are in control, what's going to happen for the next 2 years?
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting because Republicans are going to hold the Senate, but it looks at this point like Democrats will, in fact, take the majority in the House. And that means all the committee chairs will now be chaired by Democrats. And that's going to present a bit of an issue for Donald Trump. You've got the Judiciary Committee, the Intelligence Committees, now headed by Democrats. You've got Maxine Waters heading the Finances Committee. So it's going to be interesting. It could give Donald Trump a kind of perfect foil, however, going into 2020.
All right, we thank you so very much, Professor Waller. And for all the results and all the races on your ballot, head to our website, wearegreenbay.com. We'll continue to update those numbers as they come in. Tom, Aaron?
Thank you, Chris and Professor Waller. We've taken a look at some of the statewide races, like the governor's race.
And we give you another live look right now at the Walker camp in Waukesha. We'll have more from your local election headquarters coming up right after this.
You're watching Local 5 News with Tom Zalaski and Aaron Davison.